Hello, here we again to discuss about the narrative text. What you see now on the screen is the elements of narrative text. What is the objective of this video? Students will be able to identify the elements of the narrative text. Students will have the ability to define the elements of narrative text, and students are capable of demonstrating mastery of narrative text elements. That's the objectives, the purpose of this video. We'll start with the overview. The narrative text often contains structural and character elements that should be familiar to you, because anytime you read like a novel, like you read a short story, and that is a kind example of the narrative text. And the elements that you will have here can be as the guides to you to help you think about the actions, the themes, the context of the story. Normally, the elements of narrative text is the theme, the setting, characters' point of view, characterizations, and the plot is the exposition statement, rising action, conflict, climax, falling in action, solution. And we'll discuss them all one by one. Start from the beginning. What is that? What we call here is the theme. What is the theme? Theme is the main idea of a literary work, usually expressed as the generalization of the story. What is the story about? It's about love, it's about hatred, it is about the payback, it is about the school, it is about the children, it is about the adults, it is about the parents, family, and that is the theme of the text. The next one is the setting. You tell the locations, you tell the time, and it can be abstract and it can be real. So you just mention them all inside the story, inside the text. What about the characters? The characters are the people, the actors take place or play inside the story. Okay. The next one is point of view. This is the writer's concept, because the writer can be the writer itself write the story, or someone gives the story, someone as the source of the story, and the writer is the person to write the story. So point of view, this is the storyteller who tells the story, and what is the message, what is the concept of the story from the person or the source of the story. The next one is the characterizations, the descriptions of the personalities of the characters inside the story, because the personalities could be good, could be bad, could be protagonist or antagonist or neutral. That is the characterizations inside the text. The next one is the plot. We discussed the plot one by one. The plot is the sequence or the order of the events from the beginning until the end of the story, and that is a plot. So the plot includes the exposition statement, the introductions, the parts of the plot to tell us how the story begins. So it should be the beginning of the story. The next one is the rising action, the story leading up to the climax. And after that there is conflict, the struggles or the fight between the good side and the bad side, the opposite forces inside. What is again about the moral plot? There is a climax. What is the climax? Climax is the point of crisis in the plot. It may be the reader's point of the highest interest, because the climax will make the reader interested or make the reader bored. Okay, because what after the climax is the following actions, and there is the ending, or there's a solution at the end as the outcome of the story. The plot can be like this: the exposition, the beginning of introducing everything inside, and after that is the rising action and the climax here, and there is a following actions. Of course there's conflict here, conflict, and there is the climax, and after that is following action. Resolution is the outcome, it's the happy ending or sad ending. The next one, we move to the generic structure. What is the generic structure? Before is the elements of the text, now is the general or generic structure of the narrative text. The first one is the orientation. Orientation is the reader is told who is the in the narrative. It's normally the introductions. Okay, what's happening, when it is happening, and where it is happening. You introduce in the beginning of the text. The next one is the complication, where something happens that triggers of a whole series of events, thus complicating the narrative. It sounds like it's beginning of the conflict. The next one, the sequence of events, where the reader is shown how the characters react to the complications, both in actions and inner thoughts. So there's thinking or there's action inside. That is the sequence of events. It's like a climax of the two sides. The next one is the resolution, where the complication is resolved and bringing the sequence of events to one end. It's normally falling, okay, rising, and this is falling. And the last one is coda. If a narrative contains a moral or message, what is the moral lessons, what is the message from the writer to the reader. Look at now this example. The orientations are the dog and snow. This is the beginning of the story. It happened that a dog had got a piece of meat and was carrying it home in his mouth to eat it in peace. So this is the orientation, what happened, where, and the character here, what's going on in the beginning. Now we move to the complication. Now in his way home, he had to cross a plank lying across a running brook. Okay, there's a plank lying across a running brook. As he crossed, he looked down and saw his own shadow, the shadow of the dog reflected in the water beneath. Thinking it was another dog with another piece of meat, he made up his mind to have that also. So this is the complications makes now complicated. Okay, because what? Because the dog saw another one beneath the water, but it was not the reality because it was just the reflection. What's the resolution? So he made a snap at the shadow in the water, but as he opened his mouth, the piece of meat fell out, dropped into the water, and was never seen more. So there's already there. Okay, complications, resolution. What is the coda? Beware lest you lose the substance by grasping at the shadow. So that is the moral lessons here. Okay, better for you not to lose that what you have. Instead of taking another one, it's better for you to keep what you have right now. Okay, now what is the task that you need to do? Here in the comments below the video, you write down your name, your number, your class, and you give your answer number 1 and number 2 from the questions. What is that? What is the setting of this text? Remember what is setting, okay, in the previous video. And number 2, what is the moral lessons of this text? You just write down your answers number 1 and number 2 here in the comment, and you can ask questions again if you still have something that you want to answer about this explanation. Thank you, see you, bye bye.